Mike, I know I'm going to say something that you're going to relate to because we talked about it privately. We talk about it on this show. That neither one of us could function without our wives. Yes. Like we could not carry on. We could not carry out anything without Oni Holly, without Sarah Smith. Not only would we not be where we are, we couldn't find the direction to get where we're going. Better half does not do it justice, what those women mean to us. Neither one of us, it's been said, it's unnatural for a parent to have to bury a child. Neither one of us could comprehend what it must feel like to lose a child. Robinson, Beckham, Ava, Savannah, Mason, Maya, it's our heartbeat. It's our heartbeat. It's what you and I both live for, okay? We both, first and foremost, identify as fathers, as our primary job. So I say all that to say, the phrase, I can't imagine what you're going through, that gets thrown around a lot, when it comes to people who are grieving and struggling with the loss of loved ones. But when I say I can't imagine how Vanessa Bryant lives every day, I know she has other children to live for and a legacy to carry on, but how Vanessa Bryant finds a strength. You talk about a peace and a strength that transcends understanding or surpasses comprehension. It is embodied in one Vanessa Bryant. Because not only does she have to live with the loss of Kobe Bryant and Gigi and Gianna, which even though we've moved on since, and we still miss Kobe and Gigi from afar, but even though our lives have carried on since January of 2020, it's undoubtedly fresh for her every day. It's fresh for her. But on top of that, as she stated in a court filing in response to LA County's attempt at dismissing her invasion of privacy lawsuit, she has to live not only in fear of the photos that the first responders took of Kobe and Gigi's remains, she has to live in fear, not only in fear that those photos are being leaked online, she lives in fear of that because she's being taunted online with threats of them being leaked. And here's part of what she said in the court filing. Quote, "These deputies and firefighters took the worst thing that has ever happened to me, the worst thing that could happen to any mother or spouse, and made it worse. I will never be able to shake the anguish from knowing that the officials who are to keep us safe treated Kobe and Gianna with such callous disrespect. For the rest of my life, one of two things will happen. Either close-up photos of my husband's and daughter's bodies will go viral online, or I will continue to live in fear of that happening." And she's being taunted with online threats of that happening. We live in a sick world.
Yes,
we live in a sick world. And LA County not only has tried to get this case dismissed, they destroyed the evidence in the form of the photos, thinking that that's sufficient. Oh, it never got out because we destroyed it. Forget that it was shared on 20-something devices. Forget that it was shared
28.
At a gala.
28.
At an awards gala. Forget that. Okay? Forget about the fact that it exists somewhere. Okay? Well, we deleted it off the deputies' devices. There's nothing else to see here, folks. Oh, we already settled with the other families. Let's just, come on, what are we talking? Let's dismiss this lawsuit. Well, is your trauma from losing your husband and daughter? Are we really the source of your trauma? You should get a psychological exam. Or you should show us your therapy session reports. Sick.
It is sick. Yeah.
And as you describe it, a spiritual lapse is what you want to call it, right?
That's what it is. It is. And I'm being kind. I'm being kind when I say it's the county's spiritual lapse, because this is not a case where you say, well, what's the letter of the law? The idea is to protect the widow and to protect her family. So when you say you love Kobe Bryant, and this is why some athletes really struggle with this. It's not love. People wearing your jerseys don't necessarily love you. People who are cheering for you and they know all your records and they go to all-star games to get signed jerseys and they go to retirement ceremonies to say how much you changed their lives. They don't necessarily love you if they're not looking at your humanity, if they don't see beyond you. If they can't see you behind what you do, then that's not really love. If you really loved Kobe Bryant and you respected Kobe Bryant and everything that he represents, you would love him, that you'd see the humanity in Kobe. And so now that Kobe can't entertain them anymore, they want to go around and this sick, voyeuristic phone sharing of, hey, look what I've got. So there's so many things wrong with this. One, it's disrespectful and it's dishonorable. Two, you have totally betrayed the job that you were paid to do. You're a public servant. Like, I think that it just blows my mind that people forget in these jobs, you're in a job, you're paid by taxpayers, you're a public servant. You're on the wheel of public service. That's what it is. It's not about you. It's bigger than you. It's about the public. So who in their right mind would go to a crash scene, take these pictures, and then turn it into conversation at a bar, or as you said, at a gala, or share it at work? It's work gossip.
Describing the crash victims' remains as hamburger and piles of meat.
It's sick.
Maybe they can't see the humanity, Michael, and Kobe and his family and those victims because they aren't human themselves. Maybe they can't see they can't see what's not within them. Whoever these people are, these deputies. And I said in a different context before, Michael, that ironically, nobody in America, it's a different context, but it applies here, that nobody in America is protected more than the police. The people who put their lives on the line and who are paid to ostensibly to protect and serve, nobody is protected and served more than the police. Let's expand it to first responders. I can't help but wonder how much of this taunting that she's receiving online, threats to leak these photos, stems from the fact that she's got the nerve to go after our heroes, who are human beings, I should say. Maybe they lack humanity in this case, and in too many cases, but are human beings nonetheless and are flawed. In this case, they're no worse than the people from whom they protect and serve us from. And I know we're talking about firefighters for the most part in this case, but these sheriff deputies who are supposed to be protecting us from evil, from the forces of evil,
are practicing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I think, Mike, with the county's response, let's give them one more day to think about it. It's the holidays. We're approaching the holidays. I'm feeling like extending some grace. If you admit it now, it's like you feel like you're having a conversation with a child. If you admit it now, if you accept responsibility now, that you didn't act appropriately, you could have done things in a different way, and you apologize now, hey, maybe we can move forward. But that's not going to happen. If they did that now, I could say, all right, at least they admitted it. But if they don't do that, Mike, I hope Vanessa Bryant not only gets what she is seeking, I hope people are exposed, I hope heads roll, I hope the whole apparatus is exposed for what it is. And the people who are involved now, I hope everybody who has touched this network, everybody who has done something, somebody who is hiding in the crevices, in the corners, I want the light to be shined on all of them. Because this is disgusting. And it is at the expense of the public. I just can't believe that these are not people who work for private companies. This is the county. That's why it's the LA County. These are county employees behaving like this. That to
You know
say
she's
it's
seen the photo?
immature, to say it's immature is a disservice.
You know
That's
she's
just
seen the photo,
understating.
Michael? She's seen it. She says since viewing the photo, she's seen one photo that was alleged to have been the remains of her husband. Quote, since viewing the photo, I've been tormented with thoughts of who took it and whether it depicts my husband. I just pray this woman can sleep at night because, you know,
and it's not
I don't know how the perpetrators can sleep at night. I don't know how they can. I don't know how they can look themselves in the mirror. But find me a stronger human being than Vanessa Bryant, who's carrying the tragedy, the grief of the tragedy on its own, but on top of it, has county officials and people online threatening to leak them. The county officials is one thing, but now there are strangers online threatening to leak them. It's like,
who are these folks?
Are these people?
Yeah, who are they?
Bruh,
and I want them, and that's what I'm saying. I hope everybody who's involved, everybody who has done something like this, the threats, everybody who is behind it, I want them called out, and I want them to deal with the consequences of the sick behavior. As you said, it's sick. It is. And it's not just Kobe. It's not just Kobe. It's not just his daughter Gianna. There are other people.
Right. Other victims, yes.
There are other people involved, and so it's not a sport. It's not just celebrity gossip. These are people who have survived. These survivors who just have to wrestle with being without their husbands, being without their wives, being without their children. And these folks are just saying, "Hey, check this out. Give me another beer."
But if it stopped there, that's one thing. For LA County to act like they've cleaned it up, like, oh, we deleted the photos, we reprimanded, like how
We've
can
done
they
what
not?
she asked us to do.
Yeah, like how can they not see the damage?
You didn't do what she asked you to do because at the very basic level, you didn't honor his memory.
Nope.
Sharing those photos, even internally, is not honoring the memory and the life of Kobe Bryant.
And continuing to torment his widow by acting as though she's the problem. She's exaggerating when it comes to invasion of privacy. Whether they've leaked online yet or not. Man, unbelievable. God bless that woman and all the families. God bless.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.